Hi, I'm Matt Jackson, working with Gym Club Solutions. Today we're going to be looking at a video tutorial on how to teach a Manna. Okay, so moving on from previous videos where you've looked at half lever and Russian lever, we're now going to look at stages of how to get to a Manna. Before we even think about that, what we want to look at is introducing opening the gymnast's hips so they move in front of their hands before we start lifting up towards Russian lever and Manna. This will help the gymnast be able to lift their hips easier to get into that tilted position for a Manna. So we're going to go on to the Parallettes and just look at the difference between a normal half lever and a half lever with the hips extended open. So when the gymnast is in half lever, a normal half lever, their hips will be slightly behind their hands. What we want the gymnast to be able to do is to slowly open their hips so their hips become level with their hands, or even in some cases in front of their hands. Okay, so when building up this progression, what we want the gymnast to be able to do is do multiple repetitions of this, just to increase their strength and understanding of where to put their hips. So when the gymnast is on the Parallettes, they can try 3, 4, 5 repetitions of this, just to understand moving their hips in front of their hands. Okay, so another progression we can look at for lifting to Manna on the Parallettes will be the extended half lever position. And then to make it slightly simpler, we're going to get the gymnast to open into a straddled Russian lever, letting their hips lift up with their legs slightly wider than their body. So we'll try this progression now. Okay, again, with any strength exercise, it's really good to have multiple repetitions to build the gymnast strength when doing the skill. So we'll try the same preparation, but we're going to add in 2 or 3 repetitions of this. Once we've got this with a bit of support, then the gymnast can start to try this on their own. Okay, so moving on, we're going to look at now lifting to the straddled Russian position. Then we're going to get the gymnast to slowly join their legs together until they come close to their face. So they're making almost a Manna position. Not quite yet, but their hips will be lifted and their legs will start to join onto their face. So we're making the right position to then get to the final stages of finding the right balance for a Manna hold. Okay, so when we're supporting this stage of the lift to Manna, what we want to do is stand slightly behind the gymnast. So when we're supporting, we can then support them around their lower back, and then we can also use our other hand to help them tilt their hips up, creating that tip that we want to see when we're doing a Manna. We're behind them also to stop them if they fall backwards, if their pressure comes off the bar when they're pressing in the Manna. So we want to see all of these things to help guide the gymnast into the right position so they understand where to press and where it should feel the balance point of lifting to a Manna. Okay, so another progression we can look at using for Manna is to use this setup today. So today we've got a block, a set of Parallettes, and we're actually using a set of A-bars in the gym. So we're going to use the A-bars to bring the gymnast's feet underneath the bar to get them to find the right position. So they should have a straight line between where their feet are and where their hips are. So we've got that nice line in their body whilst they're pressing on the bars. If you don't have this set up in your gym, you can use a set of wall bars which work really well to tuck their feet into the wall bars. So the gymnast can then try and find the balance of the tipping point of the Manna and how to control it. So we'll try on this setup today. So we're going to fold, bring the gymnast's feet underneath the bar, making that nice flat line between their feet and their hips. Okay, so when doing this preparation, we can see that when the gymnast's feet are tucked into the bar and their feet are in line with their hips, we can then get the gymnast to work on pressing and opening their angle so that they can find the right balance and that tipping point between a Russian lever and a Manna, where they need to slowly move to that position to find the balance. Okay, as a nice side station we can use an elastic. It doesn't have to be a beam, it can be anything. You can bring the elastic round to work on engaging the gymnast tricep muscles. So when you use a Manna or a Russian lever, we have to use constantly pressure through the triceps and also the hips to lift. So we're going to use this elastic today, and what we're going to get the gymnast to do is have their hands facing the same way as they would do on the Parallette. So not this way, they're going to be as if they were holding the Parallettes or the P-bars. And we're going to bring the elastic level with the gymnast's waist, and then we're going to work behind this position, so opening the band behind us and back to normal. When you do this, we want to do like a slow press, engaging the tricep. You want to feel the gymnast engaging their triceps, so it should be burning through their triceps when they get to the end of the range of movement of the pull. Okay, another nice strengthening exercise we can use when we're teaching a Manna. What we want to do is find preparations and strengthening exercises that feel similar to the skill. So when you're performing it, we're thinking about pressing in the same positions and making the same feeling as when you're actually demonstrating the skill. So today we're going to use the block, the P-bars, and an elastic again to give a bit of resistance. So we're going to try and get Luca to make the same position as he would be in a Manna. So again, his legs will be folded so his feet are in line with his hips. And then we're going to use the band to make the pressure pulling down, engaging the triceps, but making the same position as we need to find when we're in a Manna. Okay, so a vital part then of after we've got to the Manna position is building up repetitions with things like negatives. So when the gymnast gets to a Manna position and they have to lower down with control through that, we're then also strengthening that same muscle group through the triceps and the hip flexors. So what we're going to do is try and get the gymnast to go to the position, and then we're going to try maybe 3 to 5 negatives, getting the gymnast to control and strengthen through this area. Okay, so you can see from the last clip that when I'm supporting the gymnast for the Manna and the lowering down through the negative phase, I'm actually just shadowing through that phase. So the gymnast is having to work hard on lowering down and controlling the Manna using the triceps. So I will give him a little bit of help on the way up, and then he's working super hard on the negative part. This is then really, really progressive for building up his strength through the Manna. Okay, and then the gymnast can safely try this on their own. We can have a soft safety mat behind the bars, so if the gymnast does fall at that tipping point of the Manna, they land on the soft safety mat. So we can see from the last stages of the skill, it's quite safe to let the gymnast try the skill on their own. Even if they're failing the attempt at it, they're still understanding how to get to that final position. This takes time, many months of repetition, strength training, so don't be upset if the gymnast can't quite make the skill initially. It will build up over time. When you're doing this within a session, maybe 3, 5, 7 reps of this at the most, so that the gymnast doesn't burn out, but we want them to increase the strength as they gradually get better at it. So this will give them the final skill, all done over months of preparation. Thanks for watching our video tutorial on Manna. Please take away all the preparations and progressions and use them safely in your clubs.